Hey everyone, thank you for downloading a new episode of The Retro Gamers. Of course, if you're listening to it now, it probably wouldn't be a repeat. It's always new. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What's up?
Not much. I am back in the homeland.
Yeah, I see that.
And I don't mean Russia.
That's the motherland.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And technically your homeland would probably be Italy.
That's doubly true. But I'm not there. But I'm not there either. I'm actually back in the United States.
Very good. The good old USA. I see you're set up there. Looking good. California weather looking like it's treating you well right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting out in the backyard getting in all the sun I need for the year.
Very, very good. The heat wave is going to start hitting here in New York pretty soon. It was hot as hell yesterday. And
I've already got my AC rolling here.
Oh, please! I just broke out the AC yesterday, and oofa, definitely
nice.
I had to clean it up. Fun fact: when you take the vent off of an air conditioner and you go to clean the inside of it, make sure the AC is off when you reach your hand inside. So
why?
Look at that shot. Look at that, right off. Peeled it right off the knuckle almost.
Look, you popped a pimple on the back of your hand.
Oh my gosh, that hurt like hell.
Well, I mean, a normal person would never take something apart if it's plugged in and running.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but I did it. So
let me change the tire on my car while it's still in reverse.
Hey, I know people have gotten out of the car and not put it in park, and no, it was not me.
well, we're going to naturally assume it's you.
I've turned the car off without putting it in park. That's a fun one.
Oh yeah, everybody's done that.
So, but yeah, so you're back from Japan, and it's going to be probably a little while now, right? It looks like everything's all good to go over there. You left it in good pieces.
Well,
never mind.
Funny story. Well, there's a chance I may be going back again soon.
Okay. All right. Nothing wrong with that.
So it may not be over yet, but I do have I know, I thought I was done. But I may be going back again soon. And then there's another trip to another country that I may that will be happening later this month,
cool.
but it hasn't been 100% scheduled yet, so I'd like to spend one whole month of 2017 at home.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Well, hopefully this other country you're going to has retro gaming.
Well, I would think almost every country you can go to will have retro gaming.
Heavy retro gaming, hopefully.
Heavy retro gaming is another story, but we'll see what happens.
Alrighty.
If I go to said country, which I haven't said.
No, of course. And that country of which you haven't said, which you would say later that you haven't said, we'll say, and we'll figure out with the podcast and the said games. That's
what I said.
Awesome.
So I'm back from Japan, and I did happen to listen to the second half of our podcast last week, which I was not a party to.
Well, you were there in spirit.
Yeah, I was there in spirit because there were several references to me.
If you haven't heard, go back and listen to last week's episode. We did a kind of a two-parter in one episode because when me and Anthony were recording, Anthony was recording before he had to go to work, so he had to rush out, which I don't blame him, to get to work. So I continued the podcast with our friends Frank and Verdi even though I thought it was going to be Croxley's, there was a lot of last-minute changes, which is why I'm like, let's throw it to Croxley's. Welcome to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yes, which was very entertaining because during conversations I just kept hearing, "You need another drink, huh?"
Oh, she was a sweetheart.
Did she sign a release form?
Well, she saw the recorder on the table, so she had to have. We were in a public place. I think that's allowed.
Okay. Well, you keep believing that. But anyway, so I did take the opportunity to listen to the three of you guys talk retro gaming and reference me, and so thank you to Frank and Verdi for joining the podcast, and I take umbrage to every single thing that was spoken against me. And I'd love to say that their stories of our retro gaming past were not true, but I can't do that.
Oh, the all important part is, unfortunately, it was all true for all of us. For all of us.
Unfortunately, yes. But Verdi always had a thing about trying to piss me off when we used to game. Any chance he could get.
Do you? I was gonna say, do you remember any of that vividly?
Oh, I remember every single one.
Go back.
He did bring up the perfect one.
Yeah.
So the one where I was playing somebody else in one of the WWF games, and he took the controller out of Brian's hand to beat me. Oh, great moments.
Oh, life on the gaming. No, that was. I really didn't think. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was, and with them too, and nothing against them too. Just saying in a public forum and just chatting away. Your thoughts on anything they said with the hockey stuff?
Oh yeah, no, I remember. I remember Verdi was notorious for updating the hockey games as much as he could. So he always had the updated roster come trade deadline. So, and I remember he specifically pointed out NHL 2K on Dreamcast, which I was obsessed with as well because I actually still have it. I don't play it anymore, but I still have it. But I do remember also updating that one thanks to him. So yeah, no, yeah, definitely a lot of good hockey gaming in the past, and unfortunately, those were games I was never really good at.
Well, maybe
just not my strong suit.
You're a better player on the ice than you are off the ice.
Sure, let's believe that.
Let's roll with it.
Yeah, let's roll with it because nobody listening nor you have seen me play. So.
What? No, that is very true. I've never seen you play hockey. Next time I come out there to LA, I'll watch a game.
Yeah, no, I can't play that week.
Never even said when I was coming.
It doesn't matter. I can't play that week.
But yeah, no, that was a good episode, a good ribbon by the boys, and I'm sure Anthony's going to take his time to wait to get his due revenge on Frank and Verdi.
Oh yes, it will come.
Sweet. So
anyway, something I wanted to bring up since I'm now back from Japan and semi-lucid is you have been neglecting a certain something that we discuss here every week. And if I remember correctly...
I make sure I mix this podcast very well, and I post it every week. What are you talking about?
No, I understand that. But what I want to know is that several months ago...
Has it been already?
You had promised and began playing Castlevania 2. Both on Facebook Live and just in general, and you've been kind of silent lately. So what's going on with that?
I've been very bad. No, you're right. It's been I can't believe it's been already probably about a month. Just as I figured it was going to happen, life got in the way, but life got in the way big time. I started... Without delving too personal here, only because I know. No, it's nothing bad. I just know other people actually listen to the show now. So I started a new job or new position at work, which has kind of got me in my head for about the last month. And just when I come home, I'm just beat and tired. I'm usually end up going to bed fairly early. So, and the last couple of Fridays, I've actually been busy going back to Brooklyn. I live on Long Island, going back to Brooklyn for some things. So it's just haven't had the time. One time, actually, I think we did, in lieu of Castlevania, I ended up recording the episode of Trish Plays with Ninja Gaiden and Kirby. So,
yep, saw that.
Yeah. Did you see the bonus?
No, I did not.
Because as usual, when I start doing something, I usually forget to hit the record button. So I had to grab that raw footage of the legit first gameplay, putting that poor girl through Ninja Gaiden. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, that's typical you. Yeah, I mean that's just torture.
But I haven't forgotten about Castlevania 2 because whenever I turn on the NES Classic, I see it there. It's waiting. Because I have not touched it. I've only played it. I only will play it when I'm on Facebook Live. So don't worry, people. I've completely forgotten where I am. I've completely forgotten what I've had to do. And I think in a kind of weird way, we've all experienced that. We've all played some sort of role-playing game. I'll call it a role-playing game. where you stop playing and you go to pick it up and you completely forgot where you are and what
Oh
you're doing.
yeah, I can definitely attest to that. There's no question about it. Actually, the first one that comes to mind is Final Fantasy VIII.
I've done it with both Shining Force and Shining Force 2, and I've done it with Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yes. I didn't do it with the first Kingdom Hearts, but I started Chain of Memories.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a certain level. I think I'm at the Hercules level.
Okay.
And I believe where I left off, where I was stuck fighting Cloud.
Oh man,
because he's impossible to beat.
Sure is.
Especially in Chain of Memories, because Chain of Memories it's a weird fighting mechanism because you have to use cards.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like
to
about
fight.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I was adamant about I'm gonna play through this one so I can go consecutively through the series.
Mm-hmm.
So I can safely say that I have never played Kingdom Hearts 2 because I refused to until I finished Chain of Memories, but I can't get past this level on Hercules, and at this point, I have no idea what the game's about.
and Kingdom Hearts 3 is about to drop any month now. Well,
I know.
next year.
I know. PlayStation's going to get my money. Damn it, because I haven't bought enough systems in the last few months. Jeez.
Yeah, I think the first Kingdom Hearts, I think I left off at like the 100 Acre Woods, and that was about it.
The first Kingdom Hearts was excellent. Like I flew through that game. It was so cool. And then of course I got hung up on Chain of Memories, but yeah, when I was debating last year about whether to get an Xbox One or a PS4, I almost bought the PS4 specifically because I knew Kingdom Hearts was going to be coming out. Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be coming out on it, and the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yes, that's right.
But then somebody told me that they were releasing that on Xbox One, so I went Xbox One. Now I have two reasons to buy a PS4, and it's not just for Kingdom Hearts 3. It is also for the 25th anniversary re-release of Night Trap.
Honestly, right? That dropped out of nowhere. Let's talk about that one. Yeah, I forgot the name of the company, but first of all, it's been 25 years. I can't believe it. And Night Trap is going to be released on physical media.
Yeah, so I think Night Trap was an interesting choice for them to bring back. I mean, considering yes, it's the 25th anniversary and all, but not exactly the game anybody would be clamoring for today. At least I would think, except for people like me who still own a Sega CD.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think the game. I think it's that nostalgia niche of a small group of people who remember that game, remember it being one of the first games to really quote unquote push the envelope. I guess as far as with the full motion video and the topic that it discussed, and plus it was so bad. The acting was horrible in it, and it was probably Dana Plato's last appearance.
It's actually very possible that might have been the last thing she filmed. Funny story about Night Trap, and I think I've actually shared this on the podcast before. I may have. If I haven't, I will now.
We always have new listeners.
But one of the actors in Night Trap was his name was Andrus Jones. And the reason why I bring him up is because he was actually in one of my favorite horror film series of all time. He was in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. And if anybody has seen that movie, Andrus Jones plays Rick, who's Alice's brother, and he's like the karate kid in that movie, so to speak. So fast forward to moving to LA. My current landlord, who's a really good friend of mine, is best friends and former roommate with Andrus Jones.
Yes. So you should be getting a complimentary copy any day in the mail
of Night Trap. Yeah, signed by Andrus Jones.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Get me a copy.
I will do that. But again, I just love playing 6 Degrees of Me when it comes to stuff like this.
Oh man! Now I don't know if you saw the actual website or the article. Maybe I don't think there's a website yet for it. But I found it interesting that they showed 2 pictures of, again, it's going to be a physical disc that on for the PlayStation 4. One had like a Sega CD type cover to it, and one had a Sega CD or a Sega 32X CD cover to it. Did you see that?
Yeah, because it was actually released on both.
Correct, but I'm wondering if there's going to be any difference between the two. I can't imagine there would be, because it would have just thrown it all onto one disc.
No, I don't recall it being any different. I don't think it would be. But it was, well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, because it was actually released on the Sega 32X.
Yep.
And you know what? I might as well just segue into, since we did happen to bring up Night Trap, that is the topic of my retro spotlight for this week.
Sweet.
So we're getting into retro.
I'm worried
into retro spotlight a little early.
Yeah, I'm worried we may have hit all the topics. Dana Plato and your landlord, or your landlord's friend.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you would think that that's all there is about Night Trap, but no, there's more. So this week's retro spotlight is about Night Trap, which was originally released on the Sega CD, and it was developed by Digital Pictures. Released on October 15th, 1992, wow, which was close to my birthday.
Yeah, it sure was.
So,
wow.
But I do not remember asking for it for my birthday because I was 14. So, and I don't know if I'm guessing Mom wouldn't have known, so she could have possibly bought it for me. So anyway. Should have asked for it, damn it. Anyway, I still own it. It's in my collection. So it was originally released on the Sega CD only, but then it was later ported to the Sega 32X, which is why you see a different cover with the 32X on it. So it was released on the 32X. It was also released on the 3DO. It was released on MS-DOS.
Wow.
And Macintosh.
Oh, okay.
So, and for good reason, I can imagine it being released on those, because it was an interactive, it was one of the very first interactive movie games, and it ran on CD. And at the time, CD-ROM was just becoming a thing. So, I'm sure Mac and, PC wanted to take advantage of that.
Definitely.
So the game itself, for those of you who don't know about Night Trap, it's basically a very, 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 very low-rent horror movie that runs in real time. The game has over 90 minutes of full-motion video.
Wow, 90 minutes? Okay, I didn't know that.
About 90 minutes. So they basically filmed the movie.
Yeah.
They filmed a 90-minute movie, and the whole plot of the film was about a group of young women who are having a slumber party get together, and they become targets of these vampires, or these vampire-like beings who want to take their blood.
I forgot they were vampires. That's right.
And then Dana Plato's character in the film, for those of you who don't know who Dana Plato was, she had a very successful role on the sitcom Different Strokes back in the 80s.
What you talk about, Anthony?
Well, I'm talking about Dana Plato. She actually played like an undercover agent or something like that who was trying to stop the vampires from doing what they're doing. So that was her role in the actual film. So, and the way that the game plays is that the video runs in real time, and you're basically, it's almost like you're sitting in like a security room, and you've got 6 security cameras in front of you, one for each different room. And in those rooms, stuff is happening just as the game is going. Like, in other words, things are happening even if you're not watching it. So the point of the game is you're supposed to scan the rooms and then stop the vampires from killing the girls. And the only way you could do that is if you basically scan through the rooms quickly and like catch the right moment from when they're coming in the room, because the movie basically doesn't stop playing.
Yeah,
it's just it's in real time. It's like living through a season of 24.
I like that's a good
where
comparison.
Things never stop.
Yeah, no, that's a very good comparison. I like that.
Yeah. So basically that's the idea of the show, of the game itself. I'm sorry. So it was actually filmed in 1987. The game came out in 1982. So it was actually filmed 5 years earlier, over 3 weeks in Culver City, California. and it was originally developed for Hasbro's Control Vision video game system, which
never heard of.
Never heard of, because I don't even know if it came out. It was originally known as Nemo. That was the code name for the actual video game system. And what it did was,
Nemo.
Well, here's what the video game system did. It actually used VHS tapes instead of ROM cartridges.
What?
Yeah. So that was what they were. That's what they were developing. However, they never completed production on the system. So the footage for Night Trap was just kind of thrown into an archive, and then Digital Pictures swooped in and purchased it in 1991.
Wow.
And then they ported it, and then they created the game over for Sega CD.
You know, now that you say, I mean, that is why, like, when you go back and even watch clips on YouTube and stuff of the game, realizing that was filmed in 87, that kind of almost puts a whole different spin on it, and almost understandably where the cheesiness factor steps in, because it was already 5 years old by then.
Yeah, exactly. And we all know that the horror genre is known for its cheesy films. So what I find interesting is that when I guess there was no way to really release it as a film itself, because the issue with the game is that you have actual actors talking to the screen, because they're talking to you, because they're trying to instruct you on what you need to do and whatnot. So Digital Pictures picked it up, and they created it for the Sega CD platform and released it in 1992. The game itself cost about $1.5 million to produce.
Wow.
So which is a decent amount of money for a game.
But back then.
Well, I would think back then you're filming a whole movie and whatnot.
Yeah, true.
So a few other things to point out about this game. This game was definitely notorious for its controversy because of its adult-oriented nature.
Very much.
And back in 1993, there was I don't know if you remember, there was a hearing at the United States Senate regarding mature video games. Night Trap was one of the Night Trap and I believe Mortal Kombat were like two of the games at the forefront of that. And those, Night Trap and Mortal Kombat, of course, but Night Trap was one of the games that is responsible for the ratings that we have on video games today, because that Senate hearing led to the creation of the Entertainment Software Rating Board, which is the ESRB that we see on all of our video games.
Which for us at this age doesn't really mean anything anymore, but back in the day, that really put a hamper on stuff we were able to buy.
Oh, absolutely. And it's actually funny that you should mention that. It's funny to bring this up now, because since they're releasing a 25th anniversary release, the ESRB rating for this game now is teen. So that's where society has progressed.
Oh,
since this game
man.
came out.
You would think it would have got like an AO rating or something like that. Holy cow. Teen.
It's teen.
It
has been.
It's funny you say that. Real quick, unrelated. I'll try and find the article for next week. But I saw something. There was a game that like a re-release, not Night Trap, that it like pushed the envelope with sexuality and violence and blood and guts and everything, which was originally an M rating, but now got a T. Got a teen rating. It's almost like they're pushing like teen rating, but they're really pushing the envelope with a T rating. It's funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I just think we've come so far in video games, especially when you think about like the Call of Duties and things like that, where basically like, hey guys, be in control of an army and shoot the hell out of a bunch of people. I think those are now what are considered mature games, whereas a game like Night Trap is like, oh, you know what, this isn't so bad anymore.
It's kind of weird, I find it funny like where the video games are starting to pull back a little bit with the rating system, where like movies and television is like almost like pushing it forward with like what can or what should or shouldn't be on TV. I feel like those two genres are kind of going in opposite directions, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's just, it is kind of interesting how that goes. And just so you know, the 25th anniversary of Night Trap will be on the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Oh, okay.
So
good.
I can hold out on my PS4 a little bit longer.
Just a tad bit longer. Awesome.
And there will also be three different cover arts for it, because there were 3 different cover arts for the game.
Okay.
So I remember there was an illustrated version, and then there was an illustrated version, and then there was one specifically with Dana Plato on the cover, and I don't know what the third one is.
I remember the one with Dana Plato. I don't rememmer the illustrated version. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. There was definitely an illustrated version, because I remember it with one of the vampire ninjas and this blonde girl right up front and center. You got a close up of her, and she's like screaming and stuff.
All right. I'm gonna look that up.
So in turn, just to finish up the retro spotlight, the critical reception for this game was kind of mixed, but generally positive, mostly because of the fact that we were dealing with an interactive video game with actual full motion video, which at the time was obviously really groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, your reviews were from mediocre to great. Like Electronic Games gave it like a 90% rating overall, whereas like Electronic Gaming Monthly kind of gave it midway, like 5s and 6s. So it kind of went back and forth.
Okay.
But the issues that arose from the game obviously were that it was cheesy, and then the gameplay itself isn't the most glamorous, because you're watching a movie and you're switching rooms just to catch whatever's happening, and if you don't catch it, you basically lose.
For those who are too young to remember Night Trap, or even ever, or just never played the game, if you ever played Five Nights at Freddy's, which is the current stuff, it almost plays the exact same way with the monitors, and you have to click on it at the right time and everything. It does get annoying after a while, in my opinion, but still a great game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember to this day I still haven't beaten it, because I never sat down to actually, because the goal of the game is to actually sit there and learn when the moments are going to happen in which room, so that you can stop them. So I remember the furthest I gotten into the game, I think, was like 25 minutes into the game before I lost. And it's not that you don't die, but the girls die.
Yeah,
so,
you don't want that happening.
That's more or less the retro spotlight on Night Trap.
There you go. You got to save the lives of the girls, but it did not save Dana Plato's career. Let's face facts.
It didn't save other things about Dana either, unfortunately.
Not at all. Probably wasn't that long after, right?
I guess it must have been, because this was actually shot in '87.
Oh, that's true. So. Yeah, you're right. No, actually, she was probably in the middle of Different Strokes
while she was filming that. Yeah. So talk about
opposite.
Talk about a switch. It's like, hi, I'm little sweethearted Kimberly, and then vampires everywhere.
Well, she wasn't all of a sweetheart. Remember, she kept throwing up her breakfast.
Oh yeah, that's very true. Aww. Poor little bulimic Kimberly.
Real quick, and then we're going to move on. Different Strokes had the best special. What do they call them? Special episodes. Used to call them very special episodes.
It was almost like back before PSAs were PSAs.
Some of the best. I mean, Arnold and Dudley in the bike shop.
Dudley in the bike shop.
Sam getting kidnapped, and should have stayed kidnapped. That little annoying kid kept wetting the bed.
Sam, the redheaded kid.
Yeah. But later on, when I think Dana left the show. And I think even Todd Bridges left the show.
Maybe she left the show to do Night Trap.
Probably, and then they. Oh my God! Well, that's for another show at another time. We can talk about Different Strokes for a long time with those very special episodes.
That's very true. That is very, very true.
Dudley in the bike shop. All right,
and the bike shop. So let's move on from Night Trap. I think we've
gotcha.
done enough on that.
Gotcha. All right, so we're going to move on, I think, from Different Strokes and Night Trap to
mercifully,
to Super Potato and some games that actually both you and I both picked up. We were in spots that had some games for sale.
Very true. So Super Potato, which if anybody listens to me week after week, is probably my favorite place to go to in Japan. Of course, my coworkers get a good laugh out of that, because they're all trying to see the sights of Japan in the few free hours we have. I run straight to Super Potato and go shopping. Video games.
Super Potato is now our go-to, and I'm not even there.
I know it's definitely our go-to. There's no question about that. So, for anybody who's listening, if you haven't seen my post online yet, I managed to take a ton of pictures inside Super Potato to just show you guys just how massive a collection they have there of games that you can buy, and I'm just like, I'm floored, and I want to buy every system.
I've seen you sent me a couple of photos through the times that you've been there. Nothing major, just kind of like either a photo of a quick game you're buying or a game that you're buying for me. Take a look at it. But this is the first time I actually saw like the aisles and the rows and just what it looks like. And it's on the Facebook page. We'll put it on the Instagram page as well very shortly. We'll probably already be up there by the time you hear this. But it looks very it's not tiny, but it looks cramped or crowded, I guess is a good term.
It's terribly crowded. It's one of those places where basically you can fit one person down each aisle.
Honestly.
So when two people are shopping at the same time, it's a lot of, excuse me, going sideways. And yeah, it's like that. However, they've got that place maxed out.
Oh, God, yeah.
Absolutely maxed out with games. And the one in Tokyo is actually 2 floors of retro gaming. So the first floor is mainly your NES, Famicom, Super Famicom. Mm-hmm. I believe they had Sega Genesis, Sega Dreamcast on the first floor, and then upstairs was like Saturn, PlayStation, basically all your CD-based games, more or less. So just absolutely huge. And then the one in Osaka is, I think I want to say it's also 2 floors, but the first floor is all current games. So it's like the storefront when you walk into it off the street. It's all, here's all the current stuff. Okay. You want the older stuff, you go upstairs. And most of the photos that pretty much all of the photos that I showed you in there was from the second floor in the Osaka Super Potato. So, but just insane. And if you look at those photos, you'll see that there are glass cases where they keep a lot of the more expensive games, and that's when I was telling you. Remember, I was telling you that there are games there that are like $900, like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for Super Nintendo, Punch Out for Super Famicom. I'm like, because it's just crazy how expensive some of the games are, and it's because you're looking at them, they're in their original packaging and whatnot. So I had talked on the podcast previously about how the most expensive one I found was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That is not true anymore.
We have a new winner.
So the current most expensive game that I saw there was a whopping $1,900.
What could possibly be $1,900?
It's some game called Ninja Masters on the Neo Geo.
Oh, okay. That sounds like the regular retail price Neo Geo used to be over here.
Yeah, pretty much. It's $1,900. Now, I know we did a retro spotlight, and I did not look into Ninja Masters that much. But the game, when it originally came out, was $150 for the Neo Geo, and which makes sense because the games back then for Neo Geo were always expensive.
That sounded about right, yeah.
So it was like $150, but it was basically just a 2D fighter. It's like basic. When Street Fighter and all that stuff was coming out, Ninja Masters was just one of those. So, and the reviews weren't that great for it. So, for anybody who's looking to add to their Neo Geo collection and has $1,900 to spare, you can pick up Ninja Masters at
Super
Potato in Osaka, Japan.
Boy, that conversion rate, they got that down pat, don't they? Holy cow.
More or less. Well, I mean, it's funny because when you look at it in yen, like I'm sure your eyes would pop out because in yen, it's 198,000 yen.
It seems like a small mortgage. Good God.
Yeah, more or less. It's like, can I put a down payment and pay it over 30 years? 6% interest, of course.
But the pictures you put up, it definitely does that place justice. And there was some sweet, some of the pictures, and these are all on the Facebook page right now. There is not, like you mentioned before, there is not an inch of real estate that's not being used in that building. And I mean, they got everything just all packed to the gill, and it was kind of interesting. Now, I've never seen an N64 box for an N64 Japanese game. I thought those were pretty interesting. I mean, not anything major different than what we have as far as like artwork or anything. Like the boxes just are slightly designed different, so it's kind of cool to see those. And then all the games that are, they even have the games outside, like game cart only, shrink wrapped and ready for sale.
Yeah, no, they keep every single game there is wrapped.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is wrapped in plastic. The quality there is just excellent, which is why the other reason why I keep going back there. And the staff there, super nice. They I think one of them speaks a little bit of English, so that she was my go-to girl. But yeah, no, super nice, really helpful. And then when you buy games, they actually, at least when you buy the games in their original packaging, they'll open them up, they'll check them to make sure that everything is in there that needs to be in there before they actually give it to you.
That's really good.
Yeah, I have to say, like, the customer service and everything like that is amazing there.
Top notch.
And to your point about it being packed to the gills, it's like literally everywhere you turned, you found something. Like, I was standing at the register asking about WWF games, because I know you asked me to look for WWF games for you. Mm-hmm. And I just glance over to my right, and I see these things hanging on the wall by the register with the cable ties.
Okay, yeah.
And I just glance over and I go, what are these? I go, they were the Famicom Disk System games. There was no room on shelves for them, so they just had them hanging on the wall.
Wow.
Which was awesome, because thanks to that, I was able to find Super Mario Brothers 2 for you.
Yes,
which is on the way.
And
I picked up Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link.
Nice.
So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, just everywhere you looked, I mean, it was just games on top of games. And I must have spent at least an hour and a half in there just going through stuff. Because, I mean, two issues. One, not all the games are displayed where you can see the cover art.
Okay.
So,
yeah, you're right.
Because if you look at some of them, you'll see like there are shelves where everything is sideways. That was the first hiccup. The second hiccup is for somebody who doesn't speak the language, I don't know what the games even are, or how they're alphabetized, because they're alphabetized by Japanese character. They're not alphabetized, A through Z.
Yeah,
so
that's going to put a damper on it.
So basically, if I couldn't see the image of the game, it was impossible for me to find it. The only way I could have found the game was to literally research it ahead of time and then just ask them, because I don't know what the translation is, nor where it would have been alphabetized. So
True.
I was going by what I saw.
And half the fun of going into, even here in the States, like with modern games, half the fun of going into these game stores is just to peruse the shelf, and as if it's older games, to just pop them off the shelf, take a look at it, pop back on. So exactly. I can understand your hour and a half in Super Potato, and I can also understand, not wanting to do the research ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. Because part of the fun is actually just going in there, and especially when you don't have a set game in mind. Like I had your shopping list. I was like, but for me specifically, like I had already been there twice or two or three times before. So I had picked up a bunch of stuff that I already
They
wanted
probably
and bought.
See you coming a mile away. It's like, oh, here comes the American again. Here we go.
Exactly. So yeah, they're like, oh, here, we're gonna get all his money. So
they close every time you leave because they're
more
good.
or less. They're like, oh, we hit our quota for the year. But so just going through the stacks was fun, but at the same time a slight bit frustrating, because I'm like I don't know what I'm looking at. So because some of the games, like especially when it was cartridge only, it's just got the title on it. So it's like when I see it and I just see a title, I'm like, oh, okay. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, right.
So just a tad bit frustrating, but definitely worth my time, because I have no problem spending a couple of hours in there going through games. So
your coworkers may have a problem with it, but you're good to go.
Oh yeah, but see, I have a solve for that now. So when I found out that there was a Super Potato in Osaka, I found out where it was, and it was conveniently located around the corner from this other street that my coworkers like to go to. It's called Kitchen Street or Kitchenware Street, and basically it's just a slew of stores, just like I think a block or two long. Because a lot of the places, or at least where we were going in Japan, it's just streets of shops. So it's like it's almost like an outdoor street. They kind of have a dome over the top of them.
Okay.
Because it rains a lot there.
Yeah.
And you just walk down the street, and it's just all stuff. This street around the corner is called Kitchen Street because a majority of the stores are, surprisingly, selling kitchenware, cooking utensils, things like that. So it's just this long street of like stores like that. So I went down there with my coworkers. They went down Kitchen Street. I went in Super Potato. It was all good.
So they went on the block of William and Sonoma, and you ended up in Super Potato. Love it.
Exactly, except William and Sonoma didn't exist over there as far as I know. So, a lot of local shops. They're big on local shops there. So Super Potato was definitely a big success this time, specifically because I was able to get Zelda 2 Adventures in Link because I wanted to add that to my collection as a huge Zelda fan.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, I managed to pick up quite a few other things. Now
this is the first I'm seeing of this. So
this is the first you're seeing of it. So I only wound up buying one Famicom game this time around. Now, I know I have a Famicom system, but I pretty much picked up all of the major games that I want. And because I did not do the research ahead of time, I really didn't know what I was looking for when I got there. Mm-hmm. And at this point, it's that situation where I don't know what the cartridges say, so I'd have to research ahead of time. But I did manage to find Tag Team Pro Wrestling.
Oh, nice.
Very for Famicom nice. For a whopping 180 yen.
Pocket change.
Pocket change.
Bag of shells.
Mere bag of shells. So then... And then, since I wasn't going to get since I couldn't find anything else for the Famicom, I'm like, well, what else am I going to buy here? Because I'm not leaving Super Potato with just one game for me and 10 games for you, or 2 games for me because I got Zelda 2. So I decided to take it to the next level. And I picked myself up
look at that.
A Super Famicom.
Nice.
So we're moving to 16-bit.
That is awesome. You are going to be in such crippling debt if you keep going to the Japan.
It's very true. Although if you look at the price tag, this only costs like $30.
That was it?
That's it.
Wow. That's not bad at all.
No, not bad at all.
Wow.
So now, what games would you say that I got for the Super Famicom?
This is a whole new genre now. All right. Well,
I know we're moving up to 16-bit.
Now we're playing with power. Super power.
Oh, good Lord.
And
they haven't brought that up in Console Wars yet, the book that I'm reading.
Oh, no, not yet. Tell me when you get there.
No, but they were talking about Genesis and the whole take it to the next level. Do you remember that whole?
I remember. Was it Sega can what Nintendo don't?
Oh yeah,
or Genesis can what Nintendo.
They talked about the guy who came up with that and was eventually fired.
That was such a great marketing.
Yeah, but Welcome to the Next Level I think was way better. So that was actually their marketing ploy that wound up having them beat Nintendo for quite a while, for a couple of years actually. So, but anyway, getting back to my Super Famicom, which is the real story for today.
So I'm going to guess.
Yes.
I'm going to take a guess. I mean, you got to go with your regulars. You got to go with your Super Mario World, Link to the Past, maybe Super Metroid. What is that? Super Mario World?
Correct on Super Mario World.
Excellent.
Correct on Link to the Past.
Link to the Past. Oh, that's a nice cover art. I like that.
It's a beautiful cover.
Yeah, that's nice.
Absolutely beautiful cover.
Wow, cheap too.
Yeah. Well, they had a version of this game because I bought the cartridge only. They had a version of this game, brand new, sealed, never opened. 500 yen. I'm sorry, not 500 yen. 5,000.
Oh,
$500. Whatever.
500 American dollars. Wow.
Yeah. So that would be 50,000 yen.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you for getting card only, but I also don't blame you for sitting there going, which one?
Oh, no, I actually was like, I stared at it for a long time, and I think there was a little drool. So we got Super Mario and A Link to the Past.
All right.
Also picked up Super Mario World 2.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yoshi's Island?
Yeah.
Why isn't Yoshi on there? But still, very cool.
Because it's Mario with the number, holding up two fingers.
Yeah, I see.
That's the artwork, okay, dude? Moving on. One of the best racing games on Super Nintendo or Famicom, F-Zero.
Man, that game series has fallen off the planet. Good stuff.
Which is a shame because it was awesome.
It's amazing.
Couple of randoms. There are apparently a huge number of Mickey Mouse games on Super Famicom. It could be. I think it might be.
Okay.
That was my guess when I picked it up, but there were actually 4 different Mickey Mouse games on the Super Famicom. I just opted to buy the first one to see.
Okay.
Because I'm hoping it's Castle Evolution, which is a great game.
Oh, totally.
While I was scanning the stacks, actually no, before I get to that one, I'll show you these. Of course, we've got Donkey Kong Country.
Super Donkey Kong, it's called. That's weird.
Which is called Super Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And I got 1, 2, and 3.
Got the series. Sweet.
Got the series, which was awesome. And then I was going through you remember I told you I was going through the random stacks trying to just find anything. And I found this, and you'll appreciate this because you are a wrestling fan, but I found a New Japan Pro Wrestling game.
Nice. Look at that. It's Jushin Thunder Liger and Great Muta on the cover. Oh.
Exactly. And then what I found even more entertaining was the price.
$1, 100 yen.
This Whopper, this game cost me 90 cents. Which means I have no hope for it.
That's cool, though. Actual New Japan game. That's sweet.
Yes. Well, and then last but not least, I know, I'm keeping to the theme of wrestling since we are big wrestling fans, or you're a bigger wrestling fan than I am these days. But
Pro Slam World Podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, cheap plug. So one of if you remember on PlayStation, I had ordered, remember Fire Pro Wrestling G?
Oh, yeah.
From Japan. I had imported that because it was the only game at the time that had WWF, WCW, ECW characters along with New Japan and other Japanese wrestling federations. So it was all encompassing. It had like 300 characters in it, which was awesome.
Completely unlicensed.
Right, exactly. But they changed the names, of course. Yeah. But Fire Pro Wrestling G has been around for like 20 some odd years. In fact, we had talked about it at one point on the podcast on how there's been like, I don't know, like 20 different versions of the game over the last like 20 some odd years. The Super Famicom had quite a few. Oh. So I managed to get my hands on Super Fire Pro Wrestling G, 2.
Ooh, nice.
In its original packaging from 1992.
Very cool.
I followed that up with Super Fire Pro Wrestling 3.
Awesome. Even better cover art.
Yep. And then we moved on to Super Fire Pro Wrestling Special.
Oh, Special Edition. Okay. Wow, these are cheap.
And if you look at the back, you can see Sting in there.
Oh, yeah. Yep, Sting. That's definitely Sting.
And then topped it off with Super Fire Pro Wrestling X Premium.
Ooh. Now we're talking hardcore.
Yes. So,
awesome.
So all in all, that was my haul from Super Potato this time around. Oh, including I did manage to pick up as well, not a video game, but video game related, of course, a Legend of Zelda pocket watch that they sell over there.
Really?
And I believe I sent you a picture of that.
Oh, yes. You sent me like not a picture of the actual. I think you sent me
but an image of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got like the Triforce on it with the symbols.
Mm-hmm.
They had 2 versions. They had that one, and then they had like it almost looked like a neon or a glow or like a glow in the dark Link on it, which was fine.
Oh,
but I like it to be a little more obscure than that. So yeah, really really cool pocket watch. Am I ever going to walk around wearing a pocket watch? Probably not. But I just thought it was a cool little collectible to pick up that
totally.
I'd never seen here. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, maybe it exists in the States. I don't know. So I wound up picking that up.
Very classy.
So yeah, so that was my general. That was what I picked up in Japan outside of the games that I got for you.
Yes.
and I'm sure you're going to want to talk about that.
Yes, I haven't gotten the box yet, but I do have. Anthony was kind enough to send me an image, picture image. What is this? 1972. A photo of the games that are currently on their way, probably somewhere in Wisconsin, probably right now. So
you should be getting them tomorrow.
Oh, sweet! So it should be in New York. So we got a copy of Super Mario USA, which is our Super Mario Brothers 2. WrestleMania Challenge, which is awesome. It's got Hogan and the Warrior, Ultimate Warrior on the cover there. Dr. Mario, classic game, very classic. In box, this I love. In box Super Mario Brothers 3. That is huge.
Yes.
For me. Even better, Rockman 2. If you're unfamiliar, Rockman is Mega Man. Over there, he's called Rockman. And Mega Man 2, Rockman 2, same game, probably one of the best in the series. 2 and 3, probably the two best in the series.
I think 2 has always been my favorite of the series.
Totally.
No question.
And I always get the guy's name. Takeshi, I think it's called Takeshi's Challenge. Takeshi's Challenge, which I saw on an episode. Look him up. It is very entertaining videos. JonTron on YouTube, JonTron, and he did a video of this game, and this game is so wacky. Can't even begin to explain how the gameplay works. It's like an RPG, but it is ridiculous.
If you, well, the funny thing about that game too is like when you gave me that list and had that on there, I'm like, okay, I was like, no problem. And then I get to the store and I'm like, wait, how am I supposed to find this thing? Because I have no idea. And then obviously I did what any normal person does. I look it up online, and but I was struggling to find a cover art for the cartridge because it's like if I don't have the cover art, I'm not going to find it because I don't know how I'm going to explain to the person at the register Takeshi's Challenge in
English.
Japanese. Right, exactly. So it's like I'm not going to start playing charades with that. So then I look up the cover art and I realize it's a guy in a business suit.
Yep. The game, and this is a paraphrasing, JonTron, who mentioned this in his video. It's like probably the only game that has like a Nintendo seal of approval that actually has domestic violence as a portion of the game. And when I say domestic violence, there's a part where you meet your wife, she's yelling and screaming at you about something, and you can either choose an option: divorce, talk to her, leave the house with the kids, or punch her.
Oh my god!
It is so wacky.
All right, I guess I'm adding that to my shopping list for the next trip.
And then, and I remember I asked you this because then there's 3 other games, and this probably you mentioned before. Like, there's no cover art to them. It's just the games, and actually the titles are in Japanese. No, they're not. No, I can actually.
No, they're in English.
I just saw them now. This is for the first time. Donkey Kong.
Yep.
Mario Brothers, the original Mario Brothers.
The original Mario Brothers, yes.
And I think that because the light's hitting it too hard. That Zelda, the blue one?
Wait, the original Zelda? No, I don't think I got that for you.
No, maybe you didn't. I'm
trying to remember what that last one was.
It was a blue cart. The light, I think your flash just hit it real good. So
well, whatever it is, I'm sure you will enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. I can't wait. So that is a mystery now to be solved at a later date.
Or it can be solved in a quick moment. Let's see what my images tell me. I do see how bright that was. So
yeah,
my apologies.
No, it's all right. I'm getting it tomorrow, so.
Yeah, it's the mystery game.
Okay. There we go. The mystery game. Sweet.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with that one.
Thank you.
I do. Whatever it is, I know it was something you asked for, aside from those awful Tamagotchis.
What do you mean? It's the 25th or 20th anniversary.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoy them. I personally
I've never played them before. I can't wait.
Oh, okay. I had one that died very quickly.
Maybe I'll treat them better than I did with those things from Sonic Adventure that you got to play on the memory card for Dreamcast.
Oh, good Lord. I remember that, too. They died really fast.
Contra? Is it Contra, maybe?
Maybe.
Oh.
No, it was not Contra.
Oh, okay.
It was not Contra. Anyway, whatever it was.
Find out later.
Whatever it was, enjoy it. I hope you love it. Love every game and play them because I've bought all these games and have yet to play any.
Well, I've been playing still DuckTales on the Famicom that you got me. So.
Oh, nice.
So now, not only those games am I getting in the mail, but I just this past weekend went to what's called Chiller Theater.
Wait, before you segue off.
Segue? This is still part of the thing. What's up?
No. This is something completely different.
Oh.
Your Chiller Theater. But I wanted to point out really quickly before we leave Super Potato that my friend Charlie posted a response to all the images on Facebook, and he said that noticeably absent from my photos was the much maligned and equally reviled Virtual Boy.
I saw that. Yes,
and he's correct. All of the photos I did originally post did not show a Virtual Boy. Now, Larry, I sent you something over Messenger just now.
Yes.
So if you want to take a look at it,
all right, let's see. Hold on, I'm clicking it now.
You might see something you like.
Uh-oh, what is that? That is a picture of a Virtual Boy. Do you want to accept the file? I sure do. And
I assumed you would. So
so let's zoom in on that.
So I did find a Virtual Boy.
Look at that. Wow, that box has seen better days.
It has seen better days because it was made.
What?
It was much better when it was a tree.
But, not for nothing. Our box is a whole lot. The American version was a whole lot better looking than this thing. This box.
Well, the bottom line is there was a Virtual Boy for sale at Super Potato. And I regret to tell you, you did not get it.
Oh, come on. How much was that? 23,000 yen? Was that come out to $230?
No, about $200.
Oh, I think that's more expensive than when it first came out.
You know what? Anything over the cost of a paperweight is too much for that.
Well, I am happy to see that Virtual Boy there, waiting to be bought by some young child who will
dust.
Who will learn
until the end of time
to love the system.
The world will end, and the only thing left will be cockroaches and Virtual Boy.
Well, I got news for you as well. Not that I purchased one, but with me going to Chiller Theater, I was going to mention a little later, but I'll mention it now. I went to one of the booths, and Chiller Theater is basically a collection of D-grade celebrities, most of which aren't really related to horror, but they also have vendors there selling stuff, like horror-related stuff. Like I saw some Robert Englund signed Freddy gloves and Robert Englund signed Freddy sweaters and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the
that's where I would have spent all my money.
The autographs were authentic. The glove and stuff, obviously, they weren't props. They were just bought elsewhere.
Of course.
There was a Jason mask signed by all 5 Jasons.
Oh, that's cool.
They were like $200 each. It really wasn't bad at all.
Wow.
So I went to this one guy who I picked up a couple of retro games, which I'll show you in a moment. But he said he had, because he had a nice Super Nintendo inbox. It seemed better days, but a Super Nintendo inbox he was selling for like $200-something. And he goes, blah, blah, blah. I had this, I had a Genesis, I had a Virtual Boy, I had this. I'm like, whoa, slow down. You had a what? He goes, I had a Virtual Boy. I'm like, do you have it here right now? And he looked at me like, why would I have a Virtual Boy here with me right now for sale?
Mm-hmm.
But he had one. He'd already sold it. I think it was about $230. And at first, I thought he said he had 5 Virtual Boys.
Oh, God.
So I'm like, where can I...
Nobody in their right mind would have 5 of those.
I'm like, where can I contact you? Because I will buy one from you. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, didn't you say you had 5 Virtual Boys? He's like, no, I only have 1 Virtual Boy, and I've already sold it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, he had 1, and that's unfortunately one too many.
I was so close. I thought I was going to get a Virtual Boy, but maybe...
Well, you almost got one from Japan.
My next chance will be at the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo, which we're going to start to talk about next week,
very cool.
or in the weeks to come. So here's some of the stuff that I ended up picking up from Chiller Theater, which again, they're video games, so go figure. First, this thing, which I can't wait to hang up at my new desk at work, a Ms. Pac-Man metal sign.
Oh, very nice.
It looks like the name looks like from the marquee of the actual arcade. So that's very cool.
You know, I never realized how provocative Miss Pac-Man was sitting on her logo.
She's laying out there. She's ready. Who's that? That looks like Inky. No, maybe Blinky. Eyeing her down. She's committing to that, my friends. She's ready for a long evening.
No wonder why people like Miss Pac-Man better.
So, and of course on the back, I always love that. Made in the USA.
Very nice.
All right. right, then game-wise, here we go with games. Now, this I actually picked up for a friend of mine. I was told all these games work, so we're going to see how that works. Cart only, Toe Jam and Earl for Genesis.
Ooh, love that game.
Friend of mine, Mario, who listens to the show, huge Toe Jam and Earl fan. So I got to meet up with him.
Very nice.
Too. All right, so here's what I bought for myself. You know what? I'm going to save that one for later. 3 in box, 1 cart only.
Ooh.
Let's start with the Nintendo. I bought this one because I remember my dad used to play it. Battle Tank. For NES.
I know that game. I never played it, though.
Gary Kitchen's Battle Tank. And then they had Super Battle Tank, War in the Gulf for Super Nintendo.
Nice.
And these come with the games. Games are in the box. I'm showing in. I'll put these pictures up soon. So here's the cart. Very, very nice, clean condition with the cart. Well, a couple stickers, but whatever. We'll get
Of course.
But what
Good
I
old video
love,
store stickers.
Instruction booklet.
Nice.
Looks like an order form to subscribe to Nintendo Power.
Oh, you should send that in.
I would, trust me. I was thinking about it. Free offer, like to mail in for like free tip books, like these kind of warranty cards, and then
you should mail that in too.
Well, the warranty card I don't know, but the Nintendo Power one I'm thinking of it. God knows what I'll get back.
They'll probably ignore you completely.
It's kind of like remember the phone number that you had to call when you played Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it turned into a porn line.
It did.
It did.
Oh wait, I don't know that.
Top Gun for NES.
Very nice. I also have Top Gun in its original box.
Oh, do you? Nice. This box is.
Yeah, I picked that up last year at the Gaming Expo by me.
Oh, sweet. Oh, I think I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, we talked about it. I have Top Gun and Top Gun 2.
Yeah. No, I don't have Top Gun 2, but I have Top Gun. Again, it's seen better days, but the card itself looks very clean.
Very nice.
I remember my dad was the only one I know of who was able to successfully, almost every attempt, land the plane.
My dad did the same. What was it about that?
I don't know. It's just
my dad also knew how to refuel the damn jet. I could never refuel the thing.
I was just gonna say my dad was so good at it. Wasn't your father in the Air Force or something?
Yeah, he was.
That's probably why my dad was in the Air Force as well. So
but that makes no sense whatsoever. That does not translate to video games.
Well, apparently it does.
Unacceptable.
So, moving on to the Super Nintendo, Royal Rumble. In box, Super Nintendo.
I think I have that in box also.
I think you do. It was either this or WrestleMania. So,
no, I got WrestleMania, the arcade game, in box, and that's lovely.
Sweet. And then got the. Now here's the thing: I got the instruction booklet, but it's just the front. And it's like the middle of the instruction booklet fell out at some point.
Oh,
so
nice!
It's just the front and back.
Well, at least they were nice enough to leave that for you.
So I got that. I'll put that back in the box in a moment. And then just fell out. The piece de resistance for only $10, cart only, Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh wow, that's a great deal for that one.
And no stickers, like no rental game stickers.
Yeah, that's a find.
Yeah,
that's a really good find. And of all places, at Chiller Theater. Wow. Even
better, the sleeve, it's an official Nintendo sleeve. It's not like one of those like generic black sleeves.
That is pretty awesome. You should probably check and make sure it works.
Gotta get a Nintendo first.
Oh, that's a good point. I'm not buying you that.
So that's what I got from Chiller Theater, and along with Perfect Stranger's autograph.
Yeah, they never made a video game, so we're not allowed to talk about that.
So, that was a really, really good. When I found these games, I thought they weren't bad. And priced actually wasn't too bad, about $15 each, give or take. So
yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and that was my foray at Chiller Theater.
Very nice. Well, I'm glad you had a good time at Chiller Theater, and you found video games, which would probably be one of the last places I would look for some.
Honestly, right? No, when I saw one, I'm like, oh, this guy's got a couple. And then when you started talking about the Virtual Boy, I'm like, this guy knows his stuff. He knows what to sell.
No, he apparently doesn't, because everybody knows that the Virtual Boy sucks.
How dare you, sir? So, but out here on the East Coast, on Long Island, like I said, my next opportunity will be in mid-August, the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. So I'm going to hit that up. Hopefully, if you're in town, we can both hit it up.
That would be really cool. And if I'm not in town, I will be hitting up the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo here in mid-August.
Uh-oh, maybe we'll do like a dual broadcast. Holy cow.
If they're the same weekend, we can do it live.
Oh man, that would be awesome and very technically. I don't even know. My head hurts just trying to figure out how to sync that up.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try.
So
we'll just play mine.
There we go.
And forget yours.
Well, wait a minute. How dare you, sir? So, all right, cool. And until then, though, we have a few weeks to get to our respective conventions. But this week, what happened this week?
What happened this week? Are we talking about in gaming?
Why not? Because I think we've already discussed everything we actually did this week.
All right. Well, then I think it's only fair that we go into this week in gaming.
This week in gaming.
This week in gaming, not that much from the 80s, but I will say like from there was a lot that came out. So I'm not going to hit every single one of them because a thought dawned on me. A year from now, when we're doing these episodes, we will have run out of this week in gaming because we will have gone through an entire calendar year.
Ooh, didn't think of that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so but then again, I'm also holding out hope that people that are listening now are going to listen a year from now. So that's a
completely forget what they said, what we've said.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I needless to say, I think we're safe. So anyway, so this week in gaming history, I'm going to go all the way back to 1980 to start this off.
Wow. All right.
So 1980 on the Apple II, and the only reason why I bring this up, I have no idea what this game is about. I didn't have time to research it. I just love the title of the game. So 1980 on the Apple II, High Res Adventure Number 1 Mystery House. Now, High Res Adventure.
What high res back in 1980? That was like what, like 30 colors or something?
No, I don't. I think maybe 16. I don't know. But anyway, 1980 High Res Adventure Number 1 Mystery House. If anybody out there who listens to us have actually played this game, hit us up on Facebook. I want to know about it, and specifically how high res it was. All right, moving on. 1984 on the Famicom in Japan, we got Golf.
There you go.
Just the very original. Remember we talked about how sports games back then, before they were licensed games, were just very simple: golf, baseball, football.
Very
straight
straightforward.
up. This one was Golf. 1984, Famicom, Japan.
Nice.
Moving on. To 1988, also on the Famicom. I don't know if you remember this game. It's called Jackal.
Oh yeah, I love that game. Yep.
Yeah, so,
I used to rent it all the time.
That came out in Japan in 1988.
Okay.
Moving on to 1991, the very first Prince of Persia was released in Japan on the Sharp X68000.
Yes. I'm branding it right now. That is the official console of the Retro Gamers.
Does that mean I'm going to have to buy one?
We're both going to have to find and buy one.
Oh man. Hello, Super Potato. Do you have a Sharp X68000?
Get out.
At which point they'll look at me, they'll be like, yes, it was way more popular than the Virtual Boy.
Oh, hey. What happened to our quota?
There is no more quota. Moving on to 1992, a monumental game, actually. Wolfenstein 3D came out in the United States.
Yes, classic.
On DOS.
Oh, not a classic system, but a classic game. Actually, That's where it started.
That's where it started. Yeah, that's where that first-person shooter started. A lot of people think, I think a majority of people think that Doom was the first one, but Wolfenstein beat Doom.
Oh, yeah, totally.
First.
Totally.
Yep. So, moving on to 1994, I'm trying to get more variety in terms of systems in these releases. So, 1994 on 3DO in the United States, we got Family Feud, the Ray Combs version, and John Madden Football.
Nice. John Madden Football. That was a good one.
Yep. We got those on 3DO in 94. In 1995 on the Neo Geo, we got Bust a Move in Japan. Now, Bust a Move, not the dancing game, Bust a Move, which became Bust a Groove here in the States. Bust a Move was the bubble popping game.
Yes, I love that series.
Yes, me too. Also in 1995 on the Sega Master System in Europe. So apparently in 95 they were still making games for the Sega Master System in Europe. Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
Oh, okay. I think I remember that.
Yep. Oh. So jumping a couple of years to 1997 on the Sega Saturn for the United States.
Okay.
We got Fighters Megamix.
Ooh.
I don't know if you remember
No,
that
I do
game.
remember that. Yeah. No, that was a good fight. Yeah.
Also, same year, 97 on N64, we got War Gods.
I don't know.
And on PlayStation that year, we got NHL 98.
There you go.
Which Verdi will be happy to hear. So will Frank. Both Frank and Verdi, big hockey fans. Let's go Rangers. They're not out of the playoffs yet.
I was going to say, after last night, it sounded like it was a rough game.
Shut
Well,
up.
I'm just saying. Hey, listen, the Islanders didn't even make it this year.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you should talk. And that's our sports-related segment for the day.
Well, let's throw it out there. Are the Kings even? No, they're not even in it, right?
No, they didn't make it
either.
either.
All right, now we hit all
that's
three.
That's okay, because Rangers come first for me. Jumping to 1998 on the N64 in Japan, we got Bomberman Hero.
I just started playing Bomberman on Switch, and I've never played Bomberman before. Now I really want to get back and play the old Bomberman games.
Okay,
so.
Well, we're going to, and I know Bomberman on the Switch, it's multiplayer online, so we'll have to play at some point. Yes. If I ever take Zelda out of the game, out of my system. I have yet to remove Zelda from my system, and I just picked up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe yesterday.
Oh, did you? Oh, the game's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to play it. And I'm like, Breath of the Wild.
The only thing I'm going to tell you, though, don't forget to close the software before you take the card out, or else it yells at you.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Well, I never have to worry about that. Zelda doesn't seem to be moving anytime soon. So, anyway, jumping back to 1998 on the PlayStation in the States, we got Hot Shots Golf.
Okay, that was a fun game.
Yep. 1999. Grand Theft Auto Director's Cut on PlayStation.
Ooh, sweet.
Moving over to N64, Fighting Force. Do you remember Fighting Force?
I do, yes.
Yep. That was a fun game. Also, in Japan on N64 in 99, Pokemon Stadium was released.
Okay.
Which was actually a really fun game. I still have it on my N64, the American version, of course. Super Mario Brothers Deluxe for Game Boy Color came out in 99.
I like that. That was a fun game. I mean, it was
industry.
Super Mario Bros. Was very fun.
And this specific release in 99, I'm calling out just for Frank, my buddy Frank, and former roommate Frank. Baldur's Gate: Tales of the Sword. Not the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance we played, but I just thought I'd bring up a Baldur's Gate since it was on the list.
Awesome.
Moving to 2000 on the Dreamcast,
okay.
Grand Theft Auto 2.
That's the one I had, now that I think about it. Yep.
Dreamcast version was released in 2000, and on N64 in 2000, this week we got Excite Bike 64.
I never actually played that.
I know, it was actually really good. It was the first sequel to Excite Bike, because we had Excite Bike on NES, and then it went silent. I don't remember it on the Super Nintendo.
No, not at all.
Right, so then, it came out over a decade later on the N64, which was kind of cool. Jumping to 2001, in Japan on the Wonder Swan Color, we got Final Fantasy II.
Okay.
So, interesting. Mario Party 3 on the N64 was 2001 as well.
Classic.
And then Gauntlet Dark Legacy on PlayStation 2.
That was a good game.
That was a really good game. I really enjoyed that one. If you guys, if people out there listening have not played, like Gauntlet Dark Legacy or Gauntlet Legends, great games.
Great upgrades.
Yes. And then two games I want to point out just for the sake of their titles. On PC in 2001, we got Off-Road Redneck Racing. And on the PlayStation 2, The Adventures of Cookie and Cream.
Yes, I remember that game. I didn't own it, but I remember reading about it and seeing a lot of reviews for it for some reason. Oh, man.
And moving on to 2002, we had Resident Evil for GameCube.
Oh, God.
The first Resident Evil when they re-released it.
I played that. That scared the hell out of me, that game, that version. Holy cow. I'm even getting chills right now thinking about it.
Well, I'm really glad that game freaked you out. It shows what an adult you are.
Honestly, what the heck?
Moving on to 2003, on Game Boy Advance, we got Castlevania Aria of Sorrow.
Ooh, good one.
Mm-hmm. And also in 2003 on Xbox, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Tides of War. So Wolfenstein 3D in '92, and then jumping 11 years, we got an Xbox version for a later version of the game.
I remember when that came out. That was a big deal.
It was a big deal. Jumping to 2004, and this one may be up for a debate on another episode, but 2004 on the smartphone, we got the Windows Mobile version of Bejeweled Deluxe.
Oh, okay.
Whether or not we consider that a retro game, I think is debatable.
I think I would. There was a lot of games.
Yeah, we haven't talked mobile.
Yeah,
so
we'll definitely talk about that soon.
Yes. Also in 2004 on Xbox and PlayStation 2, Red Dead Revolver, which I've always wanted to play.
Classic game. Actually, the sequel's about to come out. Red Dead Revolver is basically GTA in the Old West.
Which is exactly why I want to play
it. That's Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Revolver is a different game.
Well, no, isn't Red Dead Revolver the prequel or the game before Red Dead Redemption?
What system was it on again?
That was on the I already forgot. It was on Xbox and PS2.
Okay, then it had to have been them before. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the first game in that series.
It was.
And then jumping to 2005, we got Pokemon Emerald version on Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith on PS2, Xbox, and Game Boy Advance.
Ouch.
And here's one I find really interesting. This was now, remember I said it's 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Boulder Dash 2 Rockford's Revenge released on the Atari 5200.
This is like the second or third game on This Week in Gaming where that's happened. It was like an Atari game released in the early 2000s. But it doesn't seem like it would be a homebrew game, because then why would it be on the list?
Well, that's the interesting thing about it, because I did a tiny bit of research on it, and apparently this game was released on the other Ataris, but it was never released on the 5200. So Atari went back for some odd reason and created a version of it for the Atari 5200.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know if actual cartridges were made. I think they were, but probably if they were, not many. But it was definitely available for download.
Okay, cool.
So. And then we'll end there, I think, with 2005. So I just thought that was interesting. So that's This Week in Gaming.
Sweet, that was a very good week in gaming.
It was.
All right, good.
Makes me want to go game now with one of my 10,000 games I've purchased.
Might as well get your money's worth, right?
So yeah, right now, just sitting there collecting dust isn't helping me.
All right, cool. So do you have anything you got coming up? Anything happening, or are you just gonna go play games?
No. Well, in 2 weeks on May 13th, my television show Inside Guy is going to be screening at the Die Laughing Film Festival here in Los Angeles.
Awesome.
So that's going to be really cool. Hopefully nobody dies laughing in the theater. Quite frankly, they'll probably just die. But
oh, come on now.
No. Seriously though, yeah. So we're screening at a film festival on May 13th. So that's my big upcoming date. What's going on with you?
Well, I got my new podcast out there. If you're a wrestling fan,
congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. The Pro Slam World Podcast with Larry Mormon. That's me. So check that out.
Do I get to come on as a special guest once in a while?
Yes, eventually. You can, especially with your inside knowledge. I can definitely use your expertise.
Oh, good Lord. Is that what it's called?
Otherwise, that's pretty much about it. We're going to see if we can get again to Retro Video Game Night. We're going to hit up the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. We're going to have something possibly happening in June, which we'll talk about soon. And that's us, meaning the retro gamers. Me personally, I just go to work. So that's about it.
Well, then you enjoy work.
Will do.
Work is the virtual boy of the real world.
That I will agree with you on that. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Folks, don't forget to subscribe, share when you see our posts, check out our Instagram feed at @_Retro Gamers, and we'll be back next week. And have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you then.
You do the same.
All right, get you all.